If you watched my last video on ChatGPT tips, you learned the basics that stop your prompts and outputs from looking amateur. Things like breaking down complex requests instead of cramming everything into one prompt, using role playing to get professional responses, and organizing your chats properly. Those fundamentals alone probably transformed how you use ChatGPT. But here's the thing, most people stop there and miss out on the advanced features that turn ChatGPT from a basic writing assistant into a powerhouse work tool. In this video, we're going to cover the next 10 tips that unlock ChatGPT's full potential. We're talking about features like Canvas for seamless editing, choosing between different AI models for specific tasks, and settings that most users don't even know exist. These aren't nice to do tweaks. These are the differences between using 20% of what ChatGPT can do versus accessing its complete toolkit. So if you're ready to go from ChatGPT beginner to power user, let's dive right into these advanced tips. And let's start with tip number 11, just to keep the order of the tips, I guess. So 11 is turn on all capabilities. ChatGPT can do lots of things. So take full advantage of its capabilities. And in order for this to happen, be sure to turn on features like these right here. So you can create an image, you can search the web, you can write code or code, and you can run deep research. So if I flip on create an image, you now get ideas right there of the type of stuff you can create. So create an image of a magazine, of cute animals with headlines or text. And if I just click that, this will immediately go into creating an image mode. While that is being created, if I open up another ChatGPT window and go to tools, I can search the web. So now if I ask it, what is today's date? This will be able to search the web for today's date. And we should get the 11th of June. As you can see, that gave us the right answer. If we were to just use this without its web searching capabilities, and we grab the same prompt right here, what is today's date, and paste it in here, that's what we get. I'm not sure actually if this was updated on their end, but okay, yeah. So in some cases, it will turn on web search by default, even without us having to specify that. So as you can see, if it realized that it needed the date, then it turned it on by default and said it is using the web. So there are situations where it will be intelligent enough to make the distinction and use the tools it has available. In other situations, it makes sense to just use the specific thing that you need right there. Also, one thing that is sort of following up to what we mentioned in the previous video, if we go to our settings right here, we go to personalization, custom instructions, and then go to the advanced section, we can also turn off the ability to get web searching as a tool available, for example. So now if I hit save, this should never have access to web search. So now if I do that, I'm assuming that, okay, interesting. So maybe this was installed without needing to have web search enabled. But in this case, if I say what's happening in the world right now, let's see what we get. Yeah, so now we get I can't browse the internet, so I can't give you the latest news. However, you can check what's happening by looking at these websites. Whereas if we go back to our settings, we go to personalization, custom instructions, advanced, then turn on web search. Let's see what we get. If I grab that, create a new chat, let's see if this is able to turn on web search by default. Yeah, as you can see, it does that. So you can also turn on or off the different tools that you have available under settings, personalization, custom instructions, and then you go to the advanced section right here. So you have web search, code, canvas, and advanced voice. So those can be turned on and off for all the searches that you will have. Over here, we also got the cute animals poster created. So cute animals, what makes them so adorable? Accessorize your pets, the thank you test, animal friends, how to take better pictures, right there. This just came from the prompt, create an image of a photorealistic magazine cover for cute animals, featuring 3 impossibly cute and stylishly accessorized pets with realistic catchy headlines and the teaser text. What you could then do is also grab a screenshot of this and say something like, this is This is duplicate. So let's remove the bottom right text. So we don't have to how to take better pictures. So this should recreate the image once more with the modification that we asked for, which would be the image without the bottom right text right there. So moving forward, tip number 12 is to be sure to set up formatting rules. And ChatGPT can format responses in all sorts of ways, but sometimes it just doesn't quite hit the mark. So here is the move that you should be thinking about. Each time you prompt, specify exactly how you want it formatted when it comes to the output. If you want a step-by-step guide, then ask for it. If you want an essay or a bullet list, spell it out. You can go as detailed as you want. You can mention lists, tables, paragraphs, whatever suits the task. And this little tweak will save you from getting responses that either feel off track or are mismatched with what you need. And the way this would work in practical terms would be that if we go here and create a new chat while this image is being generated, I can say, give me ideas on a great European holiday. Output in bullet format. If I go to another ChatGPT window and paste in the same prompt, but instead of bullet format, I say output in 3 paragraphs, it might have somewhat of a similar response, but the format of the output, as you can see, here we got the bullet points, and here we're getting those 3 paragraphs. So being very specific will pay off immediately. And yeah, this is the final version of that image, so we don't get the duplicate text right there. So bullet point formatting versus 3 paragraphs as the format requirement. Tip number 13 is to ask ChatGPT to explain something to a 10-year-old. And this one is a personal favorite because it keeps things simple, clear, and to the point. So if you're struggling with a complex topic, just tell ChatGPT to explain it to a 10-year-old. You can also go even younger, explain it to a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old. And this works for everything from understanding tricky theories to breaking down data analysis. And if you want it really simplified, as I said, just switch to a younger person, a younger version, right? And the idea is that you will get to enjoy the ultimate crash course in simplicity. This is perfect for when you just need the core concepts without the fluff. So if we go back here and we see, okay, there's information about Central Europe, Vienna, Budapest, Prague. But what if that's way too complex and I just say, explain this to me like 7. So very simple sort of prompt. Here, let's see what we get. Imagine you're going on the best adventure ever across Europe. Firstly, you visit 3 magical cities, Vienna, Budapest, and Prague. In Vienna, there are giant castles and fancy music concerts. Then you take a train to Budapest where you can splash in warm bath pools outside, even in winter. After that, Prague looks like a storybook city with a big old clock and a bridge full of statues. So I'm pretty clear on what I can find in each city. Next, you go to sunny places. In Italy, you ride a scooter on twisty roads. You eat lots of yummy pasta and lemon ice cream. I mean, yeah, sounds like a great vacation indeed. Tip number 14. You can customize the appearance of ChatGPT, and everyone's, I guess, ChatGPT setup tends to look pretty much the same by default, but you have a few customization options. And the way to access these would be to go to your settings once more. So if I go to settings here, I can go to general right here. And over here, I have the theme. So I have 3 options. I have the system, the dark, and the light. I'm really not a fan of the light version. So I generally leave it to dark. So even if it's system, then it would revert to, as in the system would revert based on whatever you have your computer set to. In my case, I have a dark version. So system and dark do the same thing. Just light would really light up my screen like that. So I love the dark version right there. It's a very quick change that might or might not make sense for you, but if you want the opposite of what you currently have, Then you can go with the light or dark mode. And I think dark mode can be easier on the eyes, especially if you're a night owl or a coder. So set it to automatic, the system team, if you want it to be based on whatever it is that you have on your computer. Tip number 15, provide ChatGPT with context, because ChatGPT doesn't know anything about you, especially when you're starting out your project, or anything else that it needs to know, unless you tell it. So it's a great idea to give it some background, and the more relevant information, the better. If you're, say, a college student with a specific assignment, add those details up front. So say something like, I'm a college senior with a 3.5 GPA. I need an essay outline on the French Revolution's impact. So just the specific context, who you are, what you're doing, what the ultimate aim is, will give ChatGPT more context, and the context it needs to tailor a response that actually fits. It won't mess with the formatting or the style. It just makes the response more relevant for your specific use case. Now, tip number 16, for those of you that don't know how to prompt, or if you feel that you can do better when it comes to prompting, you just need to ask ChatGPT to help with this. You can say something like, improve my prompt and explain what you changed. And ChatGPT will then tweak things for clarity, and it will tell you why it made those changes. And the more you do this, the more often you do it, soon you'll be able to understand what goes into a good prompt. So you'll be able to also level up your prompting game in no time. And as a bonus, you can also ask ChatGPT for a quick rundown on how to prompt for general tips and tricks. It might give you some suggestions that might be a bit outdated because things evolve and things change very quickly. But you'll still be able to pick up handy insights into the whole prompting game, right? So if I go here and I create a new chat, let's say I want your help to discover the best European holiday. What is a great system prompt for a large language model like yourself to ensure I get the answers I want? Even something as simple as that will allow us to get the best system prompt, the best prompt, right? Example system prompt. And it gave us everything we need right here. You are a European travel expert, helping me discover the best possible holiday experience. Ask me questions to understand my preferences, then give me a curated list of destinations. And then you can just also tailor this to your preferences, so giving it more context. Or you can also just say, execute the prompt. So this should give us the questions that it's asking about, right? Answer these and it'll give you a curated, optimized European holiday. No fluff, just value. You can also say, come up with example answers to these questions. So it's coming up with answers. And I think the next thing would be to actually create the European holiday plan based on this profile. So I can say yes. So this is doing all the things that we needed to do, right? It's coming up with the prompt, it's coming up with the questions, it's coming up with the answers, and then it's actually coming up with the whole itinerary right there. Day-by-day breakdown. We're going to Lake Bled, to Salzburg, budget estimates, and why the trip works. Great. And here's also asking, want me to turn this into a printable itinerary or a Google Map route? I'm not sure what that would actually do if I say Google Map route. I have my doubts whether that can actually be done. But let's see. Searching the web. That'll be pretty impressive. Here's a suggested Google Map style route. Okay. Yeah. What I was looking for was actual Google Map links, I guess. But yeah, open Google Maps and there are the key stops. Adjust the travel dates, and then let me know if you'd like a printable PDF of the route or a set of map links. Give me the map links. I don't think it's actually able to do that yet, I guess. Yeah. I can't generate live Google Maps directly. So it does sometimes tell you it can do something, but then when you sort of press it and ask it to do it, say it can't actually do it. But anyway, we're getting close to that as well. Tip number 17. If you're still using the free version of ChatGPT, you're probably wondering why your results aren't as good as what you see other people getting. And the truth is that the free version switches you to a weaker model after just a few questions. So while other people with paid accounts are getting consistent, high quality responses, you might be getting a basic version that gives shorter, less helpful answers. Plus, the free version caps you at a certain limit every day. So that is in terms of the number of messages you can send, the number of images you can generate, the number of files you can upload for analysis. The paid version lets you upload more, lets you generate more images, which honestly makes a huge difference when you're trying to use ChatGPT for real work projects. So for $20 a month, I think you are unlocking the full power of ChatGPT. And there's also obviously the higher paid, I believe $200 a month version as well, if you wanted to go with that. I do think that the Pro version, or rather the Plus version, which is the $20 a month, is totally worth the price of admission. Tip number 18 is to use the correct model. And this comes from seeing many people use the same basic GPT-4o model, which is great, don't get me wrong. But there are different models that are more suited for different situations. If you're using GPT-4o, rather than something like, I don't know, 4.5 when it comes to writing, for example, you might be missing out. If you're using 4.1 mini instead of 04 mini for coding, you might be missing out. So it makes sense to switch to the better model when you want to get something specific. So GPT-4 is very capable, but it's also very general, right? It's efficient, it uses fewer tokens, it gives faster, more accurate results. So don't just not use that. However, you can also try different models if you want to see what they could give you. So here we have O3, for example, and this uses advanced reasoning. So if I had to ask it again about my travel itinerary, so I know, plan a holiday for me in the middle of August, European cities, budget $100 for, that's not much, let's say $1,000 for 10 days. So this should think a bit more thoroughly about the answer. It won't give a quick of an answer as the previous ones. It will show you what it's thinking about. So the user wants a 10-day holiday. It's coming up with places. It's thinking about them. It's considering airlines. So mention Ryanair was there. It's also pulling the information it knows about me. It's looking at flights here, which is great. So it's using a bunch of different tools as well. Apparently I'm based in St. Paul's Bay, which isn't true, but it is quite close. So it's coming up with, or it's searching Flixbus, it's checking for other sources, searching the web for hostel listings, it's checking Flixbus, Bratislava to Prague. So there's quite a lot of stuff or steps happening right there. I've got most of the pricing information now, okay? So now it's time to put it all together and finalize. Great. As you can see, it's really taking its time when it comes to creating the final answer. I think we should finalize the plan. Okay. We found a round trip from Prague to Malta for $105, departing August 25th and returning September 1st. Okay. And now we're getting the final answer. So below is a tight 10-day Central European loop that keeps you under $1,000, even in high season. So we're going from Malta to Budapest to Prague to Malta. We're using buses to go from Budapest to Bratislava to Prague. Hotels, 9 nights, average €23 to $25, which is $25. That's very cheap if that is true. Let's see. Hotels in Budapest. Okay, now the problem is that the link that it gave us doesn't factor in August, I guess. So it is still factoring in the date of today. But it does get us 80% of the way there in terms of the whole itinerary right there, right? Stretching the $1,000 even further. Book flights now, carry on only, cook at hostel kitchens, free city walking tours, multi-day transit cards. Great. Weather and packing tips, booking checklist in order. So those are the flights we need to book. have a fantastic summer adventure. So it does think a lot more than the normal 4.0 model would when it comes to using this O3 model. So definitely a great tool to have in your arsenal if you want to get higher results or better results or more thoughtful results in some situations. Tip number 19 is to use Canvas. And this is one of the, I guess, relatively fresher features in ChatGPT. It makes writing and coding a whole lot smoother. And here's how to start. So what you do is you switch to GPT 4.0 with Canvas. And I'm not sure if this is available in other models as well, but I know that this is available in GPT 4.0. So I just switched to that right here. I'm going to start a new window, close the other tabs. And what I'm going to say is, I know, something along the lines of code me an HTML landing page where a user can submit their name and email, and this data gets sent to a webhook. And this is doing its thing right here in the same preview window, right? What we can do is, I believe we can say, can you use Canvas for this? Let's see. No, so this isn't actually using the side panel with Canvas. So what I believe before there was an option to use GPT 4.0 with Canvas, which might not be the case right here, but let's use 4.5 and see if we're able to generate that. So if we go to 4.5 and let's say, write me an article about dog training. Let's see if this uses the main window or if it will launch the canvas on the right-hand side. Yeah, I mean, this is the canvas right here. So different models will then use canvas as needed. So this is 4.5, which is great for writing. It's doing its thing right here. And once this finishes, we'll have a few additional options that by default we don't have right here. Primarily, or one of them, is that you can write or edit directly in the canvas window right here on the right. So you wouldn't need to keep prompting back and forth. You're able to make changes generally right here. So here, as you can see, we also get, which you can't see because I'm in the way, we get these options right here. So we can add emojis, we can add final polish, we can change the reading level by adjusting this right here. So let's go to middle school right here. Now this is doing its thing, so it will change the information right here. We can also cancel it, or if we don't, it is now answering in the chat, or rather answering in the canvas itself. So it's making those changes right there. Once this finishes, I'll also show you the other options we get right here. So this is super useful when we have things like writing, like coding, because we can have a look at we have a separate space in this right-hand side window where we can see what is actually happening and make changes as close to as on the fly as it comes. So here we've got a simpler version of that. So we'll just give it a second here so it will finish. Here it's saying it has been rewritten at a middle school reading level. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like adjusted. So now we can, let's say, add emojis. We can add words, sections, lists, or remove. So let's add the words. I'm not actually sure. I've never done the add emojis, but let's see what happens. Okay, I mean, yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. So we have sit, we have stay, we have come, we have heal. So not something that probably you would want to use in a professional situation, but depending on the use case, it might come in handy as well. So it's really laying those emojis every few words, essentially. So here, in a second, it will tell us that that is complete. And then, yeah, I replace as many words as possible with emojis. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like to adjust or enhance. So again, we get the menu right here. We can suggest edits. We can adjust the length as well. So we can make it longer or even shorter. We can add the final polish, whatever that means. And yeah, this is all done within the canvas. So super powerful when it comes to getting those controls that make editing super intuitive. And if you're writing very frequently, I think this is a game changer because it can be a big help to yourself, to script writers, to anyone that is using this to make their work even better. It's also great to sort of see everything in a larger window rather than having to use this left-hand side to make the adjustments. So here we get the final polished article, which has been divided into sections. It, I think, might have added or beefed up some of the sections, and it still kept the same style as we had before. So we're still using the same emojis as we had before. Again, not the most professional looking, but it is great that it kept that style that we had before without changing that too much. Tip number 20 is to use GPT-01 for advanced reasoning, and this model is built for those high-level tasks. And actually, when I created this, there was O1. However, now, I guess O3 has taken a space or its place right here. What you could also do, if I create a new window here, is the ability or use the ability to run deep research. So now, if I go back to my screen, I have research switched on. If I just flip this on, I can turn on web search as we saw before. And now the thing is that I can get a detailed report. So the answers wouldn't be surface level. And this is for those high level tasks that, let's say, might trip up the standard GPT-4o models. Anything educational that you can do with GPT-4o, O3 in this case, or whatever model is used when you do the research, will do it better and with greater accuracy. So if you need to solve, I don't know, any type of conflicts, paradoxes, you just write or you just flip on the research button here. If you need to write intricate code, no sweat. This research can go to the web, it can get back information and then give you the answer. It understands complexity at a whole new level. So it provides you step-by-step breakdowns, it provides you for code for different programming situations, and it references the resources that it used to arrive at an answer. So for anyone, or if you are into advanced topics, maths, physics, these in-depth explanations and specific proofs that have clear reasoning will be super valuable. It will be a bit slower, it will take more time, but it will be much more in-depth than ever. So this brings me to the end of this video as well. I hope you found this video useful, where we looked into the 10 to 20 tips in the ChatGPT tips that you can use. Let me know which one you found the most useful down in the comments below. In the meantime, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss future videos, and look out for part 3 of this series, where I go into the most advanced tips that you will want to use with ChatGPT. So check out that video as soon as it comes out. I'll speak to you soon.